Holly, I'm coming over to your place right now.
What?
Why are you questioning that? Tomorrow is going to be the 4th of July, right? So we are coming over today, and we'll be staying at your place for the next couple of nights. This means that both your daughter-in-law and your son are on their way to your house right now, and you need to be ready for us.
Alexis?
We should be arriving there just before dinner time, so make sure to have something fancy made up for the both of us to eat.
I can try my best to get something ready for you guys.
We are already out of the house now and on our way, so you can't tell us no to that now.
What? Lucas, you should be finishing up with your work for the day right now, correct? Do you mind swinging by the supermarket on your way home from there to pick up some more things for me?
Hi, honey. I think I can do that. What all do you want me to pick up for you?
Can you get me another dozen eggs and also a large cabbage? Also, you'll be passing by that cake shop that I really like. Could you stop in there and find a small cake that can feed 4 for dessert?
A cake? And for 4 people to eat? Who else is going to be at the house tonight?
Jake and Alexis are coming. I got a couple of texts from Alexis a little bit ago saying that they were both coming back to our house.
This again? What I never get about these kinds of situations is it's always Alexis who ends up texting us about what she wants to do and never Jake himself.
Well, perhaps Jake likes for her to be in charge of all those things, and if that's the case, then I have nothing else to say. Anyway, this plan came out of nowhere from Alexis, so we'll have to have dinner for 4 now. I'm currently working on that now, so I'd like for you to stop and grab those things for me so that we'll have enough for everyone tonight.
Sounds good. I'll try to make it quick.
Sorry for bringing this up to you so late, but thank you for understanding and doing that for me.
Holly, it shouldn't be too much longer before we pull into your driveway. Is the driveway a good place for us to park the car?
What? So you both are almost here then? You guys decided to take the car this time? What about taking the bus like all those times before?
We decided we wanted to drive ourselves this time. Do you have a problem with that?
I'm sorry, but we only have 1 parking space at our townhouse, so you're going to have to find somewhere else to park your car. There is a parking garage just down the road that you can use, and it should only be around $15 a day.
Huh? But that would cost like $60 by the end of this trip. How about you take your car out of that parking spot and park it over at the parking garage so that we can park our car in your spot?
Why should we be having to do something like that for you? You both should have the money to park in that garage, right?
Huh?
Listen, Alexis, you already started off on the wrong note by only telling me that you were heading over to stay here with my husband and I last minute. So I've been having to get things like food ready for you both, as well as a room. Please do something about parking yourselves so that I may continue to focus on making your guys' dinner for tonight.
Huh?
I have 2 pots on the stove right now boiling, so I cannot go out to move the car anyway. I will talk with you both when you arrive here.
What? You jerk!
Excuse me, Alexis. What you've just done was step too far over the line. What do you think you're doing throwing all that food I just made for you guys into the garbage like that?
Well, listen here, Holly. Whoever said for you to make dinner yourself like that? Your older son and his wife are coming home to be with you guys, and you choose to make us trash for dinner?
You think my cooking is trash?
Honestly, you don't seem to think about anyone else besides yourself. At a time like this, you should be bringing us home something fancy, like sushi. I wanted sushi. And not just the stuff from the local gas station, but the good stuff from a sushi restaurant in town. Or perhaps it's this? Since your husband is still working in a factory as a base-level employee, you guys don't have the money for good sushi? You both have to live the most basic lives at this age, so you can't even imagine what fancy food tastes like.
My husband is making enough money every year where we do not have to sleep under a bridge or starve. And we happen to enjoy living a simple life, making food at home and enjoying things like movies and walks together.
So what you're trying to tell me is you're both poor, right? But come on now, you have to start doing better than that. Because guess what? Today is the day your very important older son and his super cute wife are staying with you. So get us some damn sushi, you low-life trash. All you have to do is spend the money that you'd normally spend on yourselves each day for food, about 2 or 3 days worth of money, and spend that on sushi for us tonight. That should work for your husband and you, right? And actually, I'm already on my way over to the sushi restaurant down the other side of the street, and I'll be getting dinner from there. That $200 you had in the drawer is going to be used for dinner, so I made sure to take that with me.
What? Hey, wait! That was all we had left for this month's groceries!
And I will be using it very carefully on tonight's dinner.
Alexis, you get back here right now!
Hey, honey, are you still awake?
What? Oh, hi, Lucas. Yes, I'm still awake. You do realize I'm in the same house as you right now, so you don't have to text me if you want to talk.
Just now, Jake came over to my office to chat with me.
Did something happen to him?
He came to hand me back the $200 that Alexis took from us and thought that he could hand it to me while she's not awake. Also, he has something he wanted to talk with us about. Originally, the plan was that he'd come back to our house in secret without having Alexis come along with him. But she ended up finding out about his plan, and so he had to make up a lie saying that the both of them would come to stay here for the 4th. And, well, right now she's sleeping in the next room over to my office, and so I don't want her to hear Jake and I talking or me coming to talk to you.
Ah, so that's why we're texting instead. Well, how about I get out of my bed and come to your office?
You can do that, but be really quiet so that you don't wake her up, and please shut the door quietly when you come here. I'll make sure to turn on my noise machine to try and mute our voices, and then we can talk about what to do with Alexis.
Understood.
Hey, Holly, get the damn bath ready for me.
It's not even 10 in the morning yet, and you're already yelling.
The bath. I always get into the bath every morning, and today will be no different.
Well, I never knew about that.
Jesus! Came back pretty late last night and didn't get into the shower before I crashed. So you had to know that I'd be needing a bath this morning, right? Have you never had guests over to your house before? You need to be more considerate of me and make sure that the bath is ready by the time I'm waking up. Or could it be? You and your husband don't want to have the water and heating bill go up, and so that's why you guys never use the bath. That's exactly what I expected from two poor people.
We are not as poor as you seem to want to think, Alexis.
But look, your husband is working in a factory. That makes the both of you lowlifes.
Alexis, the only reason you married my boy is for his money, right?
Huh? What's that all about?
My son is working for a very large company at the moment, making a lot more than most people his age. And to you, he is like the perfect ATM, right? But here's the problem. That wasn't quite the truth, and Jake actually ended up being a contractor to that company. So, he isn't really making the amount of money you thought he was. And then you came to learn that his father is also not making as much as you'd like, since he's just working on the assembly line. Hence why you are now calling my husband and I lowlifes, and saying we don't have any money to cater to you with either. You are upset right now, and a bit bummed out because your plan of marrying my son for his money didn't work out. And so you find that to be a good reason to act like a jackass now.
That's right! I was freaking lied to! I didn't know that your son was just a contractor there and that your husband only works at a factory. What the hell is wrong with your family being some of the most moneyless people ever?
You had never talked with my husband much until after you married Jake, so I won't blame you for not knowing everything about him. But when it comes to Jake, you and him had been dating for a long time before you got married. So how come you didn't learn the truth about his line of work then?
What?
Well, it's too late for an answer to that to affect anything now, so I'll leave it be. From what I've heard, you have no idea what it means to be a contractor, do you?
Huh? How do I have no idea about them?
Of course, there are plenty of contractors who aren't making as much as they should be in their line of work. But in the case of my son, he someday plans to have a company of his own, and in order to get experience to put towards that company, he is going around doing work as a contractor for a few different companies. Also, Jake happens to be very skilled in the work he performs, so he's already making more than the average contractor does, with plenty of bonuses as well.
Are you serious?
And as for my husband that you always call a lowlife, he's in charge of the factory he works at.
Huh?
After graduating from trade school as an operator, he went and worked for the factory he's at now for 3 years. After those 3 years, he was asked to do some more training for larger operations, and then worked as a manager of a shift there for a bit. And once some time had passed and the previous leader of that factory left, he was promoted and took it over, and he's been doing that for 3 years now.
What? No way.
Do you have something you'd like to say about this?
Hi, Lucas. Are you out of the house today?
Hello, Alexis. What do you want with me right now?
I just wanted to apologize to you for not really ever talking to you at all before and after marrying your son. So, do you have time today to meet with me and chat? If you have time around noon, let's go out to eat, and we can take your time talking to one another.
Around noon, I don't have any plans out of the house and was thinking of having lunch at home with the family.
What?
Today is the 4th of July, and because of that, I was able to get the day off work. And that means I'm going to be home all day today.
Huh?
That also means my son and my wife are with me. Do you understand?
You're kidding, right?
Well, no matter what you try and do to get me to go out with you, this is the last day you'll ever be hearing from me. And I think the same goes for the rest of my family.
The last day? Wait, does this mean what I think it means? You're going to be divorcing your wife? Oh no. That means things from now on are going to get a little more difficult for you, right? Well, if you still need me around, I'll be willing to live with you wherever you go.
Shut the hell up and get the hell out of my house! Now!
What? What the hell is going on? Your husband is a total asshole. He came out of his office and started to grab all my things and then tossed them out into the yard, yelling at me to get out of this house. Why the hell am I being kicked out when it should be you getting kicked out of here in the divorce?
Nobody ever said that I was getting divorced, though. The only person I'm aware of who will be going through that is you.
What?
You really seem to have done a great job lying to my older son, right?
What are you talking about right now?
There was a man you had been going out with before you married Jake, correct?
That's a little...
Well, Jake already had someone go and take a look at all that, and he has some great evidence now.
Huh?
You had planned on using my son as an ATM after marrying him, so that you could go out with that other man on more high-end dates. But when you started to try and get to who you thought was a weak man's money, he turned out to have a tight grip on his wallet. The only money you were able to manage from him was just enough to buy food for you guys while he was working, and that was it. So you confronted him, and that's when he told you that he was a contractor, where you turned on him and started to complain about why he was giving you such a small amount of money, and that it was all to do with him being poor. And ever since that day, you have been blinded by your delusions about my son and his work, and have been mistreating him for it.
Holly...
This is all stuff that Jake had brought up to his father and I the other night, so some of it might be a little off. Could you please let me know if I missed something there?
But Holly...
But what?
I never knew that there could be contractors making more money than proper employees make.
And you only have your lack of knowledge and awareness to blame for that. Now that you understand that we all know the truth, I'll tell you why Jake was originally coming home. He wanted to be here to start working on all the divorce papers with us.
Divorce?
He was going to go have some talks with partners of his about starting up his company soon, but he didn't want to finish with those talks until after the divorce. So he chose to hold off on those plans and come here to finish everything up with you. There's nothing that can be done about it now. The divorce is set in stone.
He can't do that to me. I'll break up with my boyfriend, all right?
Breaking up with him now wouldn't help you any, and would probably only make things worse.
But I've only just found out that Jake has been making good money this whole time. I can't allow him to get away from me now. No way!
You're not even going to hide your true intentions now, are you?
Well, at least I won't be the only one getting divorced then. You're going to lose your husband soon as well, right? That's why I don't care about telling you how I really feel about why I'm married to Jake.
I don't understand. My husband and I aren't getting a divorce.
Huh? But just a second ago, your husband was talking about a divorce.
And that's just another one of your delusions that you've been having, because I was right next to him looking at his phone while he texted you, and he typed out that Jake would be divorcing you.
What?
Now, don't worry, because I'm showing everything you've told me to Jake right now.
Wait!
Hurry up and sign the papers, and then get the hell off our property and never come back.
I don't want to leave!
Now make sure to talk with Jake about what else he has in store for you.
I don't want to, you jerk!
I don't care what you want, you big baby.
What?
I'm going now. Bye forever, Alexis. Right after I stopped talking with Alexis, Jake came to me with some surprising news. He had already taken decisive action. Without saying a word to her, he had paid some of his friends to stop by his house, pack up all of his belongings, and start moving them to our place. He didn't even bother giving Alexis a heads up. He was done. This meant that Jake was moving in with us immediately, with no intention of ever returning to that house unless it was to sell it. The speed and finality of his decision took me by surprise, but it was clear. He was cutting ties completely, leaving no room for second thoughts. That evening, after the chaos of the day had settled, my husband and I sat down for some drinks while our son was out of the house. With a glass of wine in hand, we finally had a moment to breathe and reflect on everything that had happened. We found ourselves laughing, not out of malice, but out of sheer disbelief. It was almost comical when we thought about it. We couldn't help but wonder how Jake had ever fallen for someone like Alexis in the first place. We reminisced about the times she had come around, acting sweet and charming on the surface, yet always carrying that subtle smugness. We recalled the way she would dominate conversations, twist small details to make herself seem more impressive, and subtly put others down to boost her own image. We shook our heads at how we had once convinced ourselves that maybe, just maybe, she was good for Jake. How naive we had been. With everything that came to light, the lies, the cheating, and the blatant manipulation, it was almost laughable to think we had ever welcomed her into our home. My husband and I clinked our glasses together, silently grateful that Jake had broken free from her before it was too late. A few days later, Jake shared some new developments. He had gotten in touch with a lawyer and was officially filing for a settlement, not just against Alexis, but also her boyfriend. Apparently, Jake had enough evidence to go after both of them legally. The deception, the stolen money, and the betrayal gave him a strong case. His lawyer was confident that Jake could reclaim a significant amount of what had been taken from him. Not long after, Jake received the good news. He was able to recover all the money Alexis had stolen from him. Every dollar she had used to fund her dates and romantic getaways with her boyfriend was returned to Jake. The expensive dinners, hotel stays, and gifts she had flaunted at Jake's expense were finally made right. It was a huge victory. With the financial burden lifted and the divorce finalized, Jake was finally free of her. The weeks that followed were filled with a sense of peace that we hadn't felt in a long time. Our household felt lighter, freer. There were no more heated phone calls, no more emotional breakdowns, and no more worrying about Alexis's next scheme. Jake was slowly but surely getting back to his old self. The tension in his face started to fade. He smiled more. He even began talking about plans for the future. Things that had nothing to do with Alexis or the mess she had left behind. For the first time in what felt like forever, we were able to enjoy normal, everyday life again. Family dinners no longer felt weighed down by underlying stress. My husband and I no longer stayed up late worrying about whether or not our son was okay. And Jake? He finally looked at ease. No longer haunted by the emotional wreckage Alexis had left him in. However, a year later, we were shocked to hear Alexis's name again. This time, though, it had nothing to do with Jake. It was far worse. News came out that both Alexis and her boyfriend had been arrested. When Jake first told us, I immediately went online to search for the details, needing to see it with my own eyes. What I found was almost too absurd to believe. Alexis and her boyfriend had been caught in a large-scale fraud scheme involving a fake marriage. Apparently, after her divorce from Jake, Alexis and her new lover decided they needed fast money. Instead of working for it, they chose to commit a felony. They forged legal documents, pretending to be married so they could apply for joint loans and claim financial benefits. They created fake records and submitted them to banks, lying about their marital status to qualify for larger sums of money. It seemed their greed knew no bounds. Desperate for cash, they took their deception as far as possible, convinced they could get away with it. But their luck eventually ran out. During a standard background check, the bank uncovered the forged documents. Their entire scheme unraveled in an instant. The bank reported them to the authorities, and the police wasted no time in making the arrest. When we saw their mugshots online, we were stunned. Alexis, once so smug and self-assured, was now disheveled and hollow-eyed. Her boyfriend, who once played along in the background, now looked just as defeated. The two of them were facing serious charges, and their once carefully crafted lies were now exposed for the world to see. Jake's reaction was surprisingly calm. He shook his head and let out a tired chuckle. It wasn't satisfaction or gloating, it was simply disbelief. It was as though he couldn't fully process the extent of Alexis's downfall. To think that the woman who once paraded around with such a sense of superiority was now facing prison time was almost too poetic. My husband and I sat with Jake at the table, processing the situation together. We didn't need to say much. The three of us just exchanged glances, each of us feeling a wave of relief wash over us. It was an unspoken realization. We had narrowly escaped an even bigger disaster. We all let out a collective sigh. The weight of knowing that we had cut ties with Alexis before her criminal behavior escalated made us feel incredibly fortunate. It was chilling to think about how much worse it could have been. If Jake had still been married to her, he might have been dragged into her fraudulent schemes, facing legal trouble himself. He could have been financially entangled in their mess, dealing with lawsuits and debt collectors. But thankfully, he was safe, far away from her chaos.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.